Some residents of the Zongo community in the Ashanti region capital, Kumasi, are threatening war against the Ghana Police Service over the killing of some 7 persons said to be suspected armed robbers. The 7 were killed on Tuesday at Manso in what police say was a shootout. That claim is, however, being disputed by their relatives from the Swati Zongo community, who say the so-called suspected armed robbers are known security operatives of the governing New Patriotic Party and have vowed to avenge their deaths if the police fail to justify the Manso killings. Nane Aljima has more.
The 7 gunned down by police in a purported exchange of fire live in the same area at Asawase, a suburb of Kumasi. Their families have gathered here at a common location to mourn their dead, even though there have not been an official communication on the death of their relatives. They are convinced by pictures making rounds in the media. This is not the first time members of the Zongo community have massed up in protest of victims of police operations. They believe it is a calculated targeting of people in the Zongo communities. They are questioning the method of policing adopted by the police.
If the commander who sent those people there is a policeman, if the policemen who went there, they are not professional, they are not well trained, then he, the commander, should have better listen to tell them that if you go do this, do this. At least out of the 7, why can't you arrest one? Shoot him when he can run. If you shoot him when he can run, then you arrest him. Try to find out, okay, now, if they are armed robbers, if there are more armed robbers there, would they know?
We are calling upon authorities and meaningful Ghanaians that the selective administration of justice on Zongo people is getting too far. So they have been part of the MPP security in Ashanti region. They were never armed robbers. As I'm speaking to you right now, my brother, who happens to be part, Musa Garden Boy, is having 6 children and a widow wife. Who is going to take care of these 6 children and this widow wife?
They say the police in about 8 months have shot and killed 6 of their youth without showing cause. They are threatening a face-off with the police if tangible reasons are not given for the killings.
They are our guidance to guide our property and our lives. But if they are killing us, brothers, this is not the first time and this is not the second time, that they will not pass freely inside Zongo anywhere for us to leave them in peace. If anything happens, we want to retaliate. Anytime any policeman is passing somewhere, he has to know that his life is also his risk, because we can kill them anytime and anywhere. Not anytime that you are wearing a uniform. You can put, I know that you are a policeman. You know that this man knows that you are a policeman.
But you can't wage war against police like that.
Yes, we can't wage war, but they are waging war on gas.
Nane Aljima reporting.
The Ashanti Region Police Command has defended the killing of the 7 who were involved in a shootout with these officers at Manso on Tuesday, insisting they were part of a robbery syndicate in the region which attacked and killed a police officer, Lance Corporal Daniel Tiokum. Regional Commander DCOP Kwesi Mensoduku at a news conference on Wednesday said the police have proved the deceased were armed robbers.
The Regional Police Command, we picked some intelligence that was last week that some armed men have planned to proceed to Manso Kwanta in the Amasia West district of the Ashanti region from Kumasi to attack passengers and mining sites. Our further intelligence gathered indicated that it was the same group that attacked a commercial sprinter bus and killed the police officer and wounded one other on Wednesday, 11 July 2018, and took away the 2 service rifles. The police were put on the alert and deployed patrols to the area between Amian Kwanta and Manso Kwanta at Kwano Precise, a Toyota Corolla car with registration number BA295/15 and unregistered motorbike with a rider and pillion appeared driving towards the Manso Kwanta direction. The bodies have been processed by the regional crime scene management team and have been deposited at the Konfanoti Hospital morgue for identification and autopsy. Exhibit Toyota Corolla car with registration number BA 29515, 2 pump action guns, and 1 AK assault rifle with 2 magazines and 2 locally made pistols, 1 unregistered motorbike, and 4 mobile phones have been retained to assist investigation. They are there.
In a related development, Sokore Mampong MC Alidu Seidu led relatives of 3 of the deceased to the Ashanti Region Police Command. There are speculations one of the alleged robbers was part of his security detail. He has, however, denied this.
Very pathetic. It's not the best. Our heart is filled with grief and with pains. Yes. So then from there we had a call that some people have been killed at Mason Kwanta, numbering about 7. So there and then pictures kept coming, and we were able to see about 3 people who are residents of our community as a Mampong municipality. And the position of the family is my position. Their position is that we should do an in-depth investigation into the matter, but they want to know what exactly happened, because there are a whole lot of things that we hear out there. My bodyguard is the one here. My bodyguard is the policeman. So I don't have any bodyguard. The only bodyguard I have is the one standing behind me. Now we have security agencies taking up the matter. At any point in time, you cannot hold yourself to a position that you don't possess. Once the police is doing their own investigations, we should leave them, or should leave the work with them to do. Come up with their findings. Then we will also do a surgical analysis of all the investigations and all the reports that they will give out. For that, we can also do something. But as it is now, I'll call all of the youth within the community of Asquaremampo municipality to remain calm till we hear from the police.
Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak is MP for Asawase, and he's also Minority Chief Whip. He joins me via telephone from the US, and he's also urging calm. Good evening to you. And what do you make of these disturbances in your community or your constituency and the threats by the youth? Hello, Alhaji Muntaka, if you can hear me, I'm asking what you make of these threats coming from the residents in your constituency. We are having some challenges with the line. We will come back to him, but also we're getting this release from the Saking Zango Palace in the community where they're urging calm. So it goes, it has come to the notice of the Saking Zango Palace in Kumasi that the 7 persons shot by the police and whose bodies were displayed to the media on Tuesday are indigents and sons of the Zongo community. Having found their identities, relations and families, the acting Zango chief, Ahmed Rufai, wishes to state that the victims are educated and well known in our community. We are therefore in consultation with the families of the victims to find a common ground to confront the problems. We therefore appeal to the Zongo communities, particularly the youth in Ashanti region, in Kumasi in particular, to remain calm and peaceful in these trying moments as we seek guidance and constitutional means to contain this calamity. We appeal to everyone to remain calm and refrain from any action that will escalate the tension and grief that has again befalling our community. Thank you for your support. And it's signed by Abdullah Alohofa, General Secretary Saking Zango Palace. Let's return to the phone lines. Hopefully get to speak with Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak, who's MP for Asawase and Minority Chief Whip. Good evening to you, Alhaji Mubarak. Now, what do you make of these threats coming from your constituents? Hello, Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak. All right, you're watching Joy News Prime here on Joy News on Multi TV. Now, an attempt to halt entrance examination for admission into the Ghana School of Law has failed as the Supreme Court has thrown out an injunction application. US-based Ghanaian academic Professor Kweku Asare in June this year sued the General Legal Council, saying the exam slated for July 27 is illegal. He maintains the council failed to pass a law guiding the exam within 6 months as ordered by the Apex Court. Lawyers for the council Wednesday demanded dismissal of the writ, saying it was defective due to the absence of Professor Asare's signature. Joy News court correspondent Joseph Akable reports the request was granted by the court.
On June 22, 2017, ruled that the entrance examination and interview session organized by the Ghana School of Law is unconstitutional. The court further ordered that the General Legal Council ensures that regulations guiding their mode of admission is in place within 6 months. This was in a case filed by Professor Kweku Asare, demanding that all first-degree law holders are given admission into the Ghana School of Law. In his fresh suit, Professor Asare maintains the law passed by Parliament in March 2018 cannot be relied upon to allow students to take the exam this year. Lawyers for the General Legal Council had raised concerns that Professor Kweku Asare had failed to sign the affidavit in support as was required by law. Lawyer for Professor Asare, Kofi Bentil, told the court they were willing to correct the defects if the court grants them the opportunity to do so. Upon further questions by the panel, lawyer Kofi Bentil informed the court of his decision to withdraw the writ. The 7-member panel in a unanimous decision struck out the writ. Professor Asare intends to file another writ.
These are some of the practicalities that the court should always take into account if the court is interested in administering justice. It shouldn't just be about the signature. The court should also think about when is the exam coming on, what exactly is achieved by this result or outcome that they have imposed on us. So we'll come back tomorrow, and when we come back tomorrow, we are going to insist that there's a hearing. Because justice demands that when somebody feels he's judicially sick, that's what I feel I am, that I'm judicially sick, I'm going to come to the court. The court is like the hospital for patients who have judicial problems. And they can't tell me there's no bed. They must make room and give me a bed to lie on tomorrow.
You're watching Joy News Prime here on Joy News channel on Multi TV. We're returning to our earlier story about the confrontation between residents of Zongo, the Zongo community in the Ashanti region, and the Ashanti Region Police Command. We're joined on the line now by the MP for the Asawase, Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak. Hopefully we can make contact with him. Good evening to you, Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak. Now, what do you make of these disturbances and threats by your constituents against the police?
Well, good evening to you and your listeners. And let me say that what has happened is a really real shock to some of us. I received a message with a lot of shock. I mean, knowing very well that very recently, about just a month ago, I had to tell the police that gradually the community is beginning to feel that they are just targeting the youth and just killing them at the least provocation, and even entreated the police to try to engage the community. And today we are hearing the loss of 7 young men that, believe me, I mean, I don't know all the 7, but I know one of them very well. There's no way anybody can convince me to say that that gentleman was an armed robber. And I want to entreat the police to do more, because, you see, it has happened to Audu Osman, it has happened to so many other young guys in the community. Let me say, without any reservation, the death of a police officer is really painful. And, I mean, the family, I empathize with the family of the 2 policemen that have lost their lives. But please, the police are professional. They are trained to handle guns. The story of the police commander is not adding up. I have tried to get in touch with the Interior Minister because I'm out of the country on an official assignment. I couldn't go through with him. We need to investigate these things thoroughly, because, you see, each time it happens, we all talk about it and they don't do much. And then it fizzles off. It makes all of us, even the community leaders, lose confidence in the sight of our constituents, because now each time it happens, oh, be calm, we'll ensure that everything will happen, and therefore please don't take the laws into your hands. And you don't see the law working. When the people don't see the law working, you make it extremely difficult for those of us who always try to calm them and tell them that they should allow the law to work. Very difficult. Nevertheless, I still want to plead with my constituents, the residents of Kumasi Zongo in particular. We beg you in the name of Allah, please, please. Yes, I know you can count up to about 5 that has happened, and virtually nothing has happened, but we still beg you, don't take the laws into your hands.
Well, the appeal you're making is in order, but the police in this case are saying that these persons they're talking about actually opened fire on them, and that's how come it resulted in the exchange of gunfire.
Look, you see, this is sad. Is that Israel?
Yes.
Is it Israel? Am I speaking to Israel?
Yes, you are.
Yes, Israel. The sad thing is that how can police claim that they've opened fire and killed 7 people? 7 people, not 1, not 2, not 3. You yourself, we are not professional. You and I are not professional. 7 people, and you claim that they were extent of fire. I doubt this story. I doubt this story, and I challenge the police to produce the guns that the gentlemen were using. Because you see, all these things, with a greater respect, sound like a cock and bull story just to defend their issue. You remember when Major Mahama died? The community called him armed robber, and they killed him. We all investigated. Later, we got to know that Major Mahama was a military officer. He was lawfully there, and they killed him. You know, there have been instances where even the police itself has shot and killed its own, called it armed robber, and later got to know that it's a police officer. They need to be professional in the way they do things. But the easiest thing they do, because all of us are harassed by armed robbers every day, the moment all of us hear somebody say, oh, it's an armed robber, then we'll all give up. I think that the general Ghanaian population, we need to change our psyche. The police needs to be professional. Unfortunately, the way these stories are going, it doesn't add up. It's not just adding up. Because where did they accost them? Where did they stop and they refuse stopping? In the police duty, if you stop somebody and the person is refused, what else can you do? That's why they have all this Motorola and you are chasing them. Others are also ahead of you and what have you. This is not adding up. Is it that they just decided to kill them to avenge the death of the 2 policemen who painfully lost their life? Look, they are making it very difficult for us to talk to our communities because of the way they are being. This parliament, this meeting alone, 2 MPs had to make statements about how police have unlawfully or carelessly killed their constituents.
All right. Thank you very much, Alachi Muntaka Mubarak, who's just joined us on the phone from the U.S., where he is on official business. You're watching Joy News Prime here on the Joy News channel on Multi-TV. We're taking a break, but still ahead in the bulletin. The University of Ghana Medical Center has finally been opened, and it is to receive its first patient some 18 months after it was inaugurated by former President John Mahama. We have the story coming up later on in the bulletin. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, the University of Ghana Medical Center finally opened its doors to patients on Wednesday, some 19 months after it was inaugurated by former President John Mahama. The facility had been shut over a misunderstanding between government and the university over who should be in charge. Amidst claims by government it was not ready for use. Now, Chairman of the Interim Management Committee, Dr. Anefi Asamaba, at Wednesday's opening announced UGMC will be jointly managed by both government and the university. Maxwell Agbagba was there and reports.
Wednesday's opening follows months of a campaign waged largely on social media to compel government to operationalize the medical facility. The originator of the Open UGMC Now campaign, Reginald Seche Brown, at some point was arrested after he took his advocacy too close to the First Lady. It, however, yielded some results as government eventually announced the opening date for the first phase of the facility, and the pharmacology graduate was there to see his wish fulfilled.
I'm a bit excited about the whole proceedings. At least it's not every time that you hear citizens making a move of such enormity and government responding. So once government has responded and shown some level of commitment, it's a step in the right direction, and that gives me some level of excitement.
And we have some cleaning currently ongoing at the entire University of Ghana Medical Center. In fact, what you can see in the background right now are some cleaners who are cleaning the outpatients and administration units of the center. Now, this center is what is going to be operationalized today. Chairman for the Interim Management Committee, Dr. Nefi Asamoah made it clear UGMC would be a referral facility.
This is not your ordinary hospital. In fact, this is meant to be the highest referral center in the country. So the teaching hospitals are even expected to refer cases to this facility. So it is important that this facility is not swamped or inundated with conditions that can be managed in other facilities. And we will need your help to educate the general public about this, because it will take away from the core business of this facility. And the core business of this facility is to train health professionals to the highest level.
He explains the management arrangement between government and the University of Ghana.
To the so-called impasse or tussle between the University of Ghana and the Ministry of Health, that has been resolved. This facility is now a partnership between the government and the university. So that has been resolved, and that is why you see colleagues from the university as part of the Interim Management Committee working with us.
Interim CEO Dr. Darius Osei says the Ministry of Health is working to provide a substation to supply reliable power to the over 500-bed facility.
There are generators to support the facility. What was said was that we need a substation which will be purposefully earmarked for this facility, because we are sharing the power with all the other environs. So the substation is what we are working on, but not the generators to support.
Okay. So how far have we come with this substation?
Well, the Ministry of Health is working on that. I am not. So.
But how soon would that be made available? Well, because you need it to.
I can't give you any timelines.
Interim Administrator Fred Ifa Yeboah allayed fear some Ghanaians who were trained at the Sheba Medical Center in Israel purposely to man the equipment at the UGMC had been sidelined.
A number of them have been recommended, and let me emphasize that we are not throwing away that recruitment. And so all those who applied and were interviewed, those that have been recommended, we want to assure them they should keep their peace, keep their fingers crossed. The process has just started, and I can assure them that at the right time we are going to invite them to take their places.
Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the project will fully be operational within 6 months. Reporting for Joy News, Maxwell Agbagba.
Now, our checks at the administration of the medical center revealed the center is yet to receive its first patient as at the close of work on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Minister for Health, Kweku Agyeman has justified his decision to delay the opening of the center for 18 months. Speaking on the floor of Parliament, Mr. Agyeman claimed the original management arrangement under the previous government was unfavorable, and that even the former finance minister said Tekpe had reservations about it.
Then another minister in health without minister for finance signs off a state asset in health to a university as a gift. Then the university council decides to look at how we can manage the facility for us to have value. So a special purpose vehicle should be set up company. Then we nominate directors, and they use their individual private names as directors to set up a state-owned company. So a past vice chancellor who had finished his term continued to sit as a director in his personal name. A former deputy minister continued to sit as a director and on the board in his personal capacity, and other people who had finished their terms. Why would we want to do so? You couldn't have any evidence of any agreement or memorandum of understanding between that special purpose vehicle, either with the university or the MOH, as to what we will do with revenues that may even be generated from that place. These are some of the things that we interrogated and which might have led us to this position. Mr. Speaker, I must tell you, on my course of fighting that battle, a lot of things came out. Why would a former Minister for Finance, Setepe, refuse to sign a financial agreement for them to have gone to borrow 50 million to do the phase 2, even prior to Nana Akufo-Addo assuming the seat of presidency? A former finance minister, Setepe, he was so happy, and these things were hidden. The state will never know this. These are some of the reasons that strengthened me to continue my fight. Mr. Speaker, I may disclose certain information. At one stage, the current university authorities were bold to tell me that, Mr. Minister, you have fought our battle for us. Why would he say so?
Ranking member on Parliament's Health Committee, Joseph Yele-Chire, urged government not to run the facility like other public hospitals.
But the advice to the new management of this facility is, as much as possible, ensure that people who are trained there, people who get service there, realize that we as politicians, we also think about ordinary people and us in terms of closeness to where they can be treated. And that is one of the reasons why many of us at the beginning were calling for this operationalization. But since it is a policy choice, you have decided to do this. And we can only say, continue that way, but as my friend who has already spoken before me has advised, anytime you are doing this, do it because we don't want national resources to be wasted. We don't want investments to be ignored. And you think about creating new investments. Our constitution frowns on that. You know that whatever any past government has done, all the succeeding governments must ensure that it is continued. The politics of this, I believe, will be over. And as the health committee, we will continue to monitor and ensure that what it is meant for to do, it is done.
Hello, it's now time for business. Good evening and welcome. Economist Professor John Gachi has added his voice to calls for the widening of the tax net to maximize revenue mobilization. He said this is a much prudent way to tackle current challenges with revenue generation rather than increasing taxes. Professor John Gachi has been speaking to Joy Business ahead of the mid-year review presentation by the Finance Minister.
The correct approach is widening the tax net. And what we have not been able to do over the years is that it's as if we are not aware that widening the tax net means we need to invest in the processes, infrastructure, the IT systems, electronic system that is needed to ensure we widen the tax net. So we have not been investing in that area. How many years is it taking us to complete our work on national identification system? More than 10 years. So is that a country that is demonstrating that it is interested in investing in the processes that are needed to widen the tax net? The answer is no. So if we fail to make huge investment in the processes that will lead to widening the tax net, why will you come abruptly, especially at the time that the government has clearly indicated its policy orientation towards taxation, that they don't believe in increasing taxes? Why will you do it at this time? So it becomes inconsistent with your policy orientation. So we need to go back to invest in the processes that is necessary to expand the tax net.
And away from that, some fisher folks have continued to express reservations about the closed fish season in August. They disagree with the timing and lament the negative economic implications on their livelihoods. Charles Aite has been engaging a section of the fishing community at Jamestown Fishing Harbour and has come through with this report.
There should be some effort to compensate us. If each fisherman is given at least 500 cedis in the span of the ban, it could come next.
During the closed season, we need to be given some compensation. We have families to fend for.
Yes, we need a compensation. If they want to bring us a compensation, it shouldn't be by this time because this is getting to festival. You understand me? And in August is the day that fishermen also go to fishing and they also get their results from fishing.
Behind me are distraught fisher folks who are saying that the timing on the ban on fishing from August 1st is very much not going to be in their favor. They are calling for a compensation from government in this regard, saying that it's either you pay us now or we revert to going on fishing on August 1st. We get to speak to some fisher folks as well, those who really sell these fishes, to get to know what exactly their situation is here at the Jamestown Fishing Harbour in Accra. The Jamestown Fishing Harbour is an old popular spot which attracts many fishmongers, some of who store their stock in refrigerators for sale later. This is where to visit should you want to buy fish and get them prepared for home. These fish sellers hint the cost of fish risk going high, between 10 and 20%, should the one-man ban be anything to go by. Nadede is a fishmonger at Jamestown. She explains to Joy Business how expensive fresh fish will be after the closed fish season.
The price of fish will definitely shoot up during the closed season. A box of fish going for 500 cedis will go for 700 cedis during and after the ban. We have no choice.
The submission by Nadede resonates with other fishmongers who lament what the negative effect the ban on fishing could have on their businesses.
The price of fish will go up. We have no choice but store the little we have for the close season. Most of us have no dependents and we always rely on loan facilities. The cost of fish is relative, but it will be increased across board during the close season.
If I bought and stored a box of fish, which costs me 500 cedis, I have no option than to sell it for 1,000 cedis during the closed season.
The 1-month ban on all fishing activities in the country takes effect from August 7th to September 4th and covers all fleet sizes, ranging from canoes, inshore boats and trawlers. From the 1st of August, when you visit the Jamestown Harbour and several fishing harbours across the country, you're going to be meeting a dead area. What I mean by this is that most of the fisher folk that you see here may not be here from the 1st of August or because of the closed season. Fisher folk across the country, especially those here at Jamestown Fishing Harbour, are kicking against this very directive. But the ministry is also still insisting this is the best way by which they could shore up the fish stock and, of course, improve the stock and the seas and across the several fishing harbours in that regard. It so far remains unclear what could be the state of fisher folk who are complaining about the economic effect this could have on their businesses, on their lives and their families as a whole. For Joy Business, I'm Charles Aite reporting at the fishing harbour here.
The Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, has called for the suspension of the cargo tracking note system. GUTA says more discussions must be carried out on the system for better understanding. Karen Dudu reports.
The Ghana Revenue Authority says the introduction of the CTN system is in line with its drive to modernize operations for facilitation of legitimate trade in accordance with international best practices. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia earlier suspended the implementation of the CTN in May this year, but was effected by the GRA on the 1st of July. According to GUTA, it was caught unawares by the reintroduction of the system. They have vowed to kick against it until broader consultations are made with stakeholders. Dr. Joseph Obeng is president of GUTA.
It is an open secret that the use of discretion is a recipe for corruption, which has been the bane of the challenges at the port. We also seek reduction of the duty rates to make it affordable for absolute compliance and give meaning to the concept. If the policymakers are very certain that the system will really enhance on the valuation system, if these concerns of the trading public are not given the serious attention they deserve, it is our resolve then not to accept the implementation.
Government recently gave the deadline for all foreign retailers to meet the necessary requirements to operate. Dr. Obeng called on government to enforce the GIPC law on foreign retailers illegally trading in the country.
We would like to remind fellow Ghanaians that we have been very civil, obedient to our laws, and even to the extent that at the peak of our frustrations, agitations, and protestations, we closed our minds to the violence that had erupted in other countries. We would like to commend the government for the bold decision and, of course, to do what is legitimate, even though it has been long overdue. However, we will also caution the authorities, including the national security, that after the deadline, expectations of the trading community will be very high on enforcement of the law.
Guta has given government 27th of July as the deadline to regulate foreign retailers in the country.
The Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank has begun its regular rounds of meetings to assess the health of the economy. Some issues expected to dominate discussions for the next 3 days would include stabilizing the cedi and the current development in the banking sector. We have more in the following Business Desk reports.
Committee will be looking at whether there might be the need for some additional measures introduced to help firmly stabilize the cedi. This was after its initial strategy of supporting the market with more dollars appears not to be getting the required results. There are even proposals for the Bank of Ghana to look at enforcing some of its laws on use of the dollars in the economy to help deal with the excessive demand for dollars locally. One can also not forget about what should be the final decision on 3 troubled banks. That is, whether they have been able to come up with strategies that will allow them still operate, or the Bank of Ghana may have to withdraw their license. Sources say the regulator at the meeting may also consider proposed measure of the 2 local banks to meet the 400 million cedi capital. The committee would also look at whether the current developments in terms of cedi depreciation warrant a marginal hike in policy rate, which currently stands at 17%. The policy rate often influences the cost of credit in the country. The Monetary Policy Committee is expected to announce their decision on the policy rate next Monday.
And that's it for business. But as a reminder, Joy Business will be bringing you an extensive coverage, various perspectives, of course, to the presentation of the budget review on Thursday by the Finance Minister. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. We have to keep watching.
There are mixed expectations in Parliament ahead of the mid-year budget review Thursday. Despite reports, the government is unlikely to increase a value-added tax as had been speculated. Whilst the majority remain confident the budget review will set the tone for enhanced development, the minority says it has very little hope there will be anything new. Chairman of Parliament's Trade and Industry Committee, Nana Ameni-Ampong, and Vice Chairman of the Health Committee, Dr. Nana Ayue-Friye, have been speaking with Joy News.
If you want to take away the barrier to healthcare, and financing is one of the ultimate barriers to healthcare, why would you want to get my old person to co-pay at the hospital? Not until you meet a point that somebody goes to hospital without fear that I have to speak to my child or my relative to give me money. The health insurance will not be effective until you eradicate that thing, that fear from there. That is only when the health insurance is effective. So if the budget is not going to increase taxes, it's going to add new taxes on otherwise newer areas, which is not existing, broadening a tax net, that's what we call a tax stamp. You go to new areas and then you want to do new areas. That's okay. That is novelty. But to add 1% to NHIA, for me as a vice chairman of the health committee, if they will add just 1% to buy 1% to the NHIA, only to allocate the resources for them, and then we can eradicate entire issues to do with co-payment.
What I would tell Ghanaians is that they should keep faith with us as a party, NPP party and NPP government. We will never shortchange them. We'll make sure that whatever resources that we take from them, will not put it into unprofitable use. We'll make sure that they themselves, and they are seeing the benefits, except that, it takes some time. Because if your child is now having free education, at least, maybe you have 6 children, 5 of them never had secondary education. You now have the last child being absorbed into government free education system. Then that alone should tell you that at least these are a different crop of Ghanaians, and I believe will never, like Liverpool said, they will never walk alone.
Well, the ranking members on Parliament's Health and Roads Committee, Dr. Robert Kuganab-Lev and Kwame Agboja, say the planned tax hikes will be bad for the country.
Nursing trainees are out of school and there's no hospital for them to go to. It is not an efficient way of spending money. So the road sector, sadly, I can predict there's not going to be much in terms of positive news. There's not going to be enough money to pay contractors, and the contractors pay the banks and actually generate employment in this country. It's going to be just dancing around the situation, but I predict 6 months after this budget, inflation would speed up, our budget deficit will be almost uncontrollable, and the hardship in this country will be worse. Businesses should be scared of what is going to happen tomorrow because they are already struggling, and it's just going to get worse after tomorrow. No reliefs at all.
We have to first of all commit ourselves to being efficient in the use of the resources that come to NHIS.
Well, it is emerging tonight that some governing party elements have made cash demands on the National Health Insurance Authority at a time when officials of the authority are pushing for a 3.5% increase or are pushing for an increase, a 1% increase in the NHI levy from 2.5 to 3.5% to fund the scheme mainly designed to serve the poor. Joining us to secure documents detailing some of these demands, and Evans Mensah joins me in the studio with the details of some of these demands made on the National Health Insurance Authority. Thank you, Evans. So let's start off. Apparently, we have a number of them. One of them being an MP, Sarah Adjasafo.
Yes. So on the 16th of March 2018, on her letterhead, she wrote to the Chief Executive Officer of the National Health Authority, and the letter was titled Request for Sponsorship. And it reads that I wish to attend an executive program on women and leadership at the Harvard Kennedy School from 29th April to 4th May 2018. And she explained, justified why that was important, that as a chairperson of the Women's Caucus in Parliament, the program would enlighten and enhance her knowledge in leadership and governance. And so she was requesting for $8,500, which will cover tuition, the fees for the program. In addition to that, she also wanted the NHI to cover her the cost of the travel, that's the flight and accommodation. And she then attached the invoice that Kennedy School, the Harvard School, sent to her. Now, the curious thing is that if you look at the invoice that was sent to her, the invoice was addressed to Parliament, the Parliament House, the Office of Parliamentary Affairs. But she chose to apply to the NHI for funding for that. The communications director at her ministry, the procurement ministry, had told us tonight that yes, she wrote this letter requesting for funding, but subsequently that letter was withdrawn. In essence, the NHIA did not make the payments to her But if you look at the letter she wrote, there are minutes on it. There's minutes to the Deputy Chief Executive in charge of finance with the instruction, please process what she had sent.
Yeah, the request.
Yes.
The request was supposed to have been processed.
Yes.
Now, if we have that going through and it's been minuted upon, I think it should be processed, why would it be withdrawn?
Yes. So the Director of Communications, Solomon Sasu-Mensah, explains that eventually Parliament paid. That's what he says. Eventually Parliament paid and not the NHIA. Because the NHIA did not go ahead with the payments. Well, that's their position. Just to give balance to this, that's their position, that the money didn't come, the NHIA refused to do, and she withdrew, and finally Parliament paid. That's one. There is also another letter, this one to the Deputy Chief Executive Administration, HR, and they were seeking approval. It was from the Deputy Director of Marketing. And they were seeking approval to facilitate a meeting to educate government communication team on NHI's policies and initiatives. And they had requested a total of 62,370 Ghana cedis for that purpose. And they explained that they simply want the government communicators to understand what the NHI does so they can propagate it wherever they are. And a total of 70 people. And we're going to take per diems and honorariums of 800 cedis each, plus obviously the lodging, etc. And these are the two that we have. But we also have a confidential memo, a letter, in fact, written by the National Security Coordinator to the Chief Executive Officer of the NHIA. And in this letter, which is dated 22nd June 2018, the National Security Coordinator was alerting the Chief Executive of concerns in Kratchi, to be very specific. That's the Kratchi West District of the Volta region. And they have stopped issuing NHIA cards because they've run out of consumables. Mm-hmm. And the National Security Coordinator makes the point that the reason why that has happened is that apparently there's a directive from the National Health Insurance Authority headquarters across the country that all their satellite offices should return every money they raise to the headquarters. But the concern is that headquarters was also not sending monies to them for them to buy consumables and use to register. And so the National Security Coordinator was warning that if the monies do not come in early, it could create a situation where people would not have health care in a poor community like that. So that creates a contest for you. And definitely they are asking for an increase in the NHI's levy. But then these concerns have come about, well, and today the minority guys on the health committee have said that they found 900 million cedis in the report that was submitted to them for consideration, that the NHIs have spent that amount on items and activities that were not part of its core mandate. Right. And so they want some form of a probe into it. Yeah.
Right. It's interesting it's coming at this point because it makes it difficult, that case that the NHI is pushing. And the NHI has been pushing the case that they would want some more money and they would want 3.5% instead of the current 2.5%. Yeah. So it makes it quite a difficult case. But we'll see how it pans out.
Absolutely.
As the Finance Minister goes to Parliament on Thursday, that's tomorrow, to present the mid-year review budget. Now, in other news, the Food and Drugs Authority has banned cough syrups containing codeine as it fights to reduce substance abuse amongst the youth. The FDA says its checks indicate possible decrease in sale and use of tramadol, a narcotic painkiller. It says, though these drugs are almost non-existent at the various joints, they are not ruling out the possibility that dealers might have gone underground. The FDA has been meeting stakeholders on the introduction of Ghana's pictorial health warnings and abuse of drugs. Nanaya Ojima reports.
Prescription-only drugs like tramadol and cough syrups containing codeine have recently become subjects of abuse. High doses of narcotic painkiller tramadol beyond the registered 100 milligram dosage were found to be sold at drinking spots and ghettos. Many, especially the youth, abuse these drugs in concoctions of energy drinks for reasons ranging from pain resistance to prolonged sex. The FDA says some successes have been chalked in collaboration with other agencies. The authority has banned cough syrups containing codeine. Olivia Ajekumuwa-Boateng is head of Tobacco and Substance Abuse Department of the FDA.
The ban is banned on fresh registration, importation and manufacture, and it was with immediate effect. So what is already in the system, what has been imported into the system, will be sold because they are still safe products. It's only that they shouldn't end up being abused. So pharmacies, because codeine is also a prescription-only medicine, so pharmacies have been charged to ensure that they are sold as prescription-only medicines.
She, however, fears abusers currently of the drug may find alternatives if they do not receive any medical attention.
They were using it. We have gone uncovered and we did not find them. We didn't, either people have gone undercover or we think our efforts are working, yielding results, because now there are predominant communities that were prone to abusing and selling. Our recent swoops have uncovered the higher strength, did not uncover the higher strengths that we were talking about. We did not even find any tramadol at all in the areas where we went. The problem we are having is the people who say they have gone off it, they need psychosocial support or help. So we are requesting the Mental Health Authority and the Ministry of Health to assist and ensure that there are functional mental health units, so that these people, because they are suffering from withdrawal symptoms and the symptoms that they cannot stop on their own, they need help. That's what we are talking about.
Nane Aljima reporting.
It is a traffic light located in the heart of WAM and named the disco traffic light because it is always malfunctioning. It has never been functional for more than a week. This creates a lot of vehicular traffic and accidents on the stretch. For Joy News Agenda today, we focus on this traffic light located on the stretch named Leper Street. Rafiq Salam has more.
The movement of over 8,000 vehicles and 200,000 residents that use this intersection is controlled by this traffic light. The first traffic light in the Wat Township, located at Sakwiri, was installed close to 2 decades ago because many residents were fast acquiring cars. 2 more traffic lights were added a couple of years ago at the hospital and the Golden Key junctions. However, this traffic light located at the Ipa Street and in front of the Ward branch of the National Investment Bank, NIB, has never worked normally for more than 7 continuous days since its installation. Nasim Mumin has been driving this tricycle for the past 3 years. He has lost count of the number of accidents recorded at the intersection due to the dysfunctional traffic light.
At times when you come, there is a big truck coming. So as some are passing here, some are passing here. So as a Kambu driver, you know, it's a passenger car. So you don't know where to pass. As long you go, normally you see the truck coming. Because the traffic is not working, he's doing fast to go. So normal accident normal occur this place. So it's no good. So we are pleading for the Assembly to come and do it for us.
The traffic light goes off anytime it rains or there are winds, and it is a nickname, the disco traffic light.
Yeah, actually, it's a disco type. It comes and goes. If it works for a week, it will go for a week. So I don't know. And it has the installation period has not been that long. The oldest traffic we are having has been there since, but we've not been experiencing such problem. Aside lights out and all those things. But this one, that's a few years back. But all the time, it's always having problems here and there.
Upper West Manager of the National Road Safety Commission, Mohammed Abdul Sabad, is not happy with a frequent breakdown of the traffic lights.
Yes, but traffic light is there to perform a function, which is to ensure that there is sanity on our roads. There will be free movement, free flow, everybody will have his turn and whatnot, and then move on. Once the thing is not working, there will be chaos, and that results in what? Crashes. We are not happy. Yeah, we want this to be fixed, such that it will continue to work just like the other two are working, so that kind of problem that we face there every now and then when there is a crash. Now we don't talk about the old traffic light, we don't talk about the hospital junction, always we say NIB junction. I don't think it's a good thing. We want it fixed. Urban roads and Assembly, they are doing their best, but the thing is still not working. Currently as we speak, it's not working.
One mayor, Alhaji Tai Risaku Mumin, stated that his outfit has worked several times on this traffic light, but has always not been able to get answers to the jigsaw puzzle.
It's giving us challenges, that particular one. And what the issues are, we don't know. But the last time, I think one of the raids, the brain board, is it the processor? Yeah, the processor, got broken. We brought the people, they changed one, and they removed it and reinstalled a different one. And then subsequently, it was only the amber that was coming. I mean, the other colors wasn't functioning. So we brought them again to have a look at it, and now it's completely off.
He however revealed that the traffic light will soon be fixed.
Because we do not have the technicians here within the municipality, so sometimes it breaks down and it has to take about a week or two before we can fix it. I think currently the one around the NIB bank area is malfunctioning, and we have already contacted the technicians to come and have an assessment of it and tell us exactly what to do. So just this afternoon, the urban roads engineer indicated to me that he has got in touch with the people, and the delegation is coming to have a look at it. And I think your coming here is really on time.
Whilst waiting for the engineers to fix the traffic light here, pedestrians and motorists believe regular or community police personnel must be deployed as traffic wardens to bring sanity here.
They go to the top there and stand. Normally, they think that place is normally busy, but here too is already busy. Now, how the people are in work is increasing. So we are pleading for the youth employment to come here and direct the cars for us.
Whilst the one mayor promises to install more traffic light in town, the big question is, how do you manage many if you cannot manage one? Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Ghana is expected to benefit from a new program to clean its coastline. Dubbed the Manwater Project, it is aimed at ensuring better management of Ghana's coastal and marine environment. F4 Evans Chinri was at the launch and filed the following report.
Officials describe the project as an integrated oceans management initiative. It's been funded by the German government with 776,000 euros. According to the Deputy Executive Director, Technical Services at the Environmental Protection Agency, Ebenezer Apasapong, having the opportunity to develop the Marine Special Plan under the project is key.
We think that having the opportunity to develop marine special planning under this project is very, very key. It will have a lot of lessons. We are starting in the Western region. We have an opportunity to move to the other parts of this country. And we would ensure that we get that thing sorted out. Aside that, we also have the marine environmental assessments. The assessments, we've been publishing State of the Environment reports, but it treats the marine environment as a small component. This will give us a state of our marine environment report, and then that will help us to take decisions how we should manage this environment. And I think that is a very important tool. And this assessment will be done periodically so that we have enough information to address some of the issues that we are dealing with. We've mentioned the three key things that will be delivered to this country. But at the end of the day, as he said, we'll have an integrated approach to managing our oceans. And that will be a major plus. We believe that with that framework, our policies will be impacted, our plans will also be impacted, and then the various activities that we carry out. It will actually influence everything we do along the coastline as well as our marine environment.
The project, which will be implemented from 2018 to 2020, has three components: identifying ecological and biological significant areas, and State of the Marine Environment and Marine Spatial Planning. Richard Da Costa is the Programs Officer of the Abidjan Convention. He has been outlining plans for the project.
The project is about to propose a marine spatial plan for the three countries of the Abidjan Convention, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and Benin. So we noticed that there are a lot of ongoing activities on the marine side of the coastline of the two countries without any kind of coordination. So somehow it's create like conflict in terms of the use of the spaces and even the use of the resources. So the project we are bringing to Ghana is to elaborate what we call an IOM policy, integrated ocean management policy, to resolve those conflicts, but also to propose an adequate, sustainable use of the marine resources. So it's a 2 years project that will propose some tools on EPSA, ecological and biological significant areas, the state of the environment assessment. Those two skills will probably gather a lot of information that will help the decision maker to allocate appropriate space and time to each sector.
Airlines residents of Asawasi Zongo community threatening war against the police over the killing of 7 persons said to be suspected armed robbers. The police, however, insist they were compelled to return fire after the suspect shot at them. The University of Ghana Medical Center finally opens to the public some 19 months after it was first inaugurated by former President John Mahama. In business, ahead of the mid-year review presentation, Economist re-emphasizes widening the tax net is a more prudent way to tackle current challenges with revenue mobilization.